Justina. Good evening. Good to have you here.
Hi, Charity. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so
It's really good to be
You're
here.
welcome. Thank you so much. Welcome to InsightSpark. And I'm so glad that you could find time to be here today. It's such a privilege, and I'm so grateful. So, to our viewers, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. And here with me is Justina Anya. Wow. So, Justina Anya is somebody I've known for a while. She's an amazing personality, and I'm so glad to, be privileged to host her today in this show, in this webinar. Wow, thank you. So she is a designer, a product manager with a passion for creating digital experiences and designing amazing products. So she blends this with creativity, with strategies to design user-centric solutions that meet business goal. And as a lead product designer and product manager, and user experience designer, Justina drives innovation and she does a lot of amazing projects while mentoring aspiring designers as well, sharing her expertise because she has spoken on different platforms, amazing design mentor, and she has spoken in different design community. Once again, I just want to say thank you for being here, Justina, and I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Charity. Thanks.
All right. Okay, so today we'll be looking at a very important topic that says navigating the path through tech as a UI UX designer. So I understand that so many UI UX designers have so much challenges and probably questions they want to understand how senior product designers like we and are able to navigate through all of these challenges in their career path. So we want to talk about navigating the path through tech as a UI UX designer. So I'll be asking Justina a series of questions, and she'll be giving us insights what her journey has been and how any UI UX designer or aspiring designer can actually grow in their tech path through some of the things we'll be sharing today. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. All right, so the first question I have here for you is, can you please share about your journey into UI UX design? I want to know what actually inspired you to pursue this career path. Okay, so please kindly go ahead to tell us your story.
Yeah, it is really, it really is a story. Well, my journey is not very straightforward actually, but and it's a long story as well. But I'll try as much as possible to cut it short.
Okay.
So, my journey started in 2020 during COVID-19. So actually, I was in school, right, and I had a couple of business I was doing in school. I was into mini importation, and I also had this hair business. I used to make braided wigs to sell to people back then. So while I was doing that, and during the COVID-19 stuff, I actually had a lot of challenges. One was sourcing for products. So being in mini importation means that I had to buy goods from China and wait for them to arrive. The wait time and everything wasn't very convenient for a small business like me, a student, just put some money together, buying things and trying to sell. And then for my brain weeks, getting raw materials wasn't really cheap in Nigeria. And the wait time as well was impacting me heavily. So what led me to into the design part of things, right? So was my trying to solve that problem I was experiencing at that time, being able to source
Yeah.
products, using a user friendly, a digital user friendly platform, e-commerce platform specifically, that I could buy wholesale products and be able to sell without having to go through the stress of going to the market. One time I nearly passed out in the
Yeah.
market, like, literally.
Oh, stress.
I swear, like,
Wow.
that led me to start thinking, how do I actually solve this problem for myself? I know that I wasn't the only one facing that problem. So that
Yeah.
led me to like start thinking, okay, what is even involved in building a digital platform, right? What's even involved in building an e-commerce platform? So I started thinking, going into careers and things like that. I started, identifying things like product management and UI UX design, web development, mobile app development. So I was like, okay, where do I even start from? Right, being an
Yeah.
introverted person, I didn't, and someone who is not in tech, I didn't have tech
Yeah.
friends. I wasn't sure where to start, what to do. So I just read things. I read a bit about product management, right? And I also, you know, I'm like, okay, the starting point for this thing is the design part for me to even
Mm-hmm.
be able to build the platform, it has to be designed, right? So, and that was where I started, learning about user experience design. So I started, relating it to some of the issues I've been having, using some of these platforms to buy goods and things like that. I'm like, okay, this could actually solve my problem. So I started like, okay, my goal was to build a platform as like build a startup out of the problem I was having. Right. That was like my main motivation. Right. So while I
Yeah.
was doing all those research and everything, I started learning about design. I used YouTube videos to learn a bit of things before I started boot camp. I started a boot camp with
Wow.
Arctic at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So while I was doing all that, trying to learn, I became more interested in the design side of things, very, very interested in that, learned a lot. And I knew that I could actually build a career out of it because, of course, COVID-19 was already impacting my business. Normally, I was
Mm.
already stressed out by the business and everything. So I'm like, okay, I could build a business and I could also build a career out of this. And so I gave it my all. And
Wow.
that's how I landed in UI UX design and, you know, as working also as a product manager and everything. So, but yeah, basically that's how it is. And now I've been able to design a lot of products, right? Also, because what led me here is because I needed to solve a problem, right,
Yeah.
for myself at the time. So my goal also as a designer currently is to be able to build or design products that actually solve user problems, meet user needs, and also drive business goals, right? So yeah, and this is where I am today, working as a UI UX designer, and yeah, so that's pretty much my journey to yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. Interesting story, I must say. So what I'm trying to say here right now is that people should not just see challenges as a reason to, run away from whatever thing it is. Imagine yours, you just saw a need, you saw a problem, you wanted to solve it, and from there you found a career path, and it's been amazing. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing this insightful story with us. And the next question I have here is, how will you describe UI US design to someone that is completely new to the field? Most times when I say things like UI UX designer, people are asking questions like, "What do you mean by that?" and all. So can you just explain those acronym to somebody that doesn't really understand what UI UX design is about?
Okay, so UI UX, the UI means user interface, and UX, user experience design, right? So you can just think of it as building a house, right? And
Mm-hmm.
building out the layout of your house, right? So the user interface is like the painting of your house, the furnitures, the decorations, everything that makes your home look pretty, right? That is the
Yeah.
user interface of your home. So bringing it to a digital application, that is the interface. You can translate that to the colors you use, the typography, your buttons. So all those things come together to make up your user interface, right? So the assets, I mean images and things you use, right? So all of that come together to make up the user interface side of things. And then still using the example of your house or your home, you know, coming into your home, you have to navigate from one room to the other. So you come in from the
Yeah.
door outside, and then you just come in and you see your living room, and then depending, I mean, I'm just saying, you can see your living room. From there, you can navigate to other rooms and navigate. So, the doors connect you to different aspects of the rooms, right? The different things you can do in your room. You have the light switch and everything. So those things are see them as the user experience. How easy is it for you to move from one room to the other within your house, right? So that is bringing it to a digital um, platform, right? So you have your mobile application or your web application. You have to navigate from one page or one screen to the other. How easy is it to navigate from one page to the other? How easy is it for you to find the buttons you click? How easy is it for you to it's still in the home, right? How easy is it for you to find your light switch, right? So this is the experience, how a user feels using your product, right? That is the user experience side of the whole thing. So putting both of them together, you have to design a product that is functional and has a good user experience. That is enjoyable for users, right? They can easily navigate, find things, and you know just enjoy being on your platform or being in your home, basically. Yeah, so that is how I would explain that.
All right, thank you so much. Excellent. So when you well, for the viewers right now, so whenever you hear the word user in UI, it simply means user interface, right? Like she just explained. And whenever you hear about the word UX, it simply means the user experience. So these two definitely need to work together for us to have a very good product out there, especially when we talk about digital products. All right, thank you so much, Justina. So what are the skills you think that are required for one to thrive as a UI UX designer? What are the skills that a potential UI UX designer is supposed to have to be able to do well in the tech industry?
Okay. Okay, great question. So I think that for you to be able to thrive as a UI UX designer, there are some skills that you need to have, right? So one is you need to have technical skills. So what I mean by this is you have to be able to know how to use the tools involved. You have to learn how to use the tools. So you can find some industry tools, some really popular tools like Figma or Adobe XD, Sketch. There are so many other ones, Creative, right? So you can pick one of them to master it, master it very well, right? So you can pick one of the popular ones. For me, I use Figma, right, very well. I also use other ones, but the one I use the most is Figma, right? So you can pick a tool, right? That's the technical part, and also understanding, the research methodologies, because apart from designing interfaces, right, you also need to be able to understand your user needs, because the products you're designing for users, right?
Users, yeah.
So you need to be able to understand your research methodologies and how to analyze your research findings. So those are all part of the technical skills, and also understanding the fundamentals of design, like your color theory, typography,
Mm-hmm.
and hierarchy, things like that. So those all fall into the technical side of things, right? So you need to really, really, be grounded and learn those things very well, as a UI UX designer, right? And then something else you also need to know, right? Skill you need to have is empathy. So this is your ability
Okay.
to relate with your
Exactly.
users. Yeah. So your ability to relate with your users, be able to put yourself in your users' shoes and understand their needs, pinpoint, feel what they feel, so that you can be able to design a product that actually works for them, right? That is enjoyable. And creativity as well. So you have to be creative. So what I mean is, beyond the creativity of designing, putting elements together, putting things together to make the interface look nice, right? You also have to creatively think of how to merge user needs and business goals together to be able to build a product that would meet business needs, right? And
Yeah.
also meet user needs. So you have to find a common ground for that in a very creative manner, right? And lastly, something else I think is really important for you to thrive as a UI UX designer is
Okay.
you need to have interpersonal skills. This is really key, right? Because you're not going to be, in most cases, you're not going to be working alone, right? The design you're making is going to be developed by somebody, and that person is
It's
a
like
developer.
I would say in every cases.
Sometimes as a freelancer, you can just design and hand it off, and then you're off you go, right?
Yeah, true.
Sometimes, right? Right. But then, if you are, yeah, you're going to be working. Even, yeah, in most cases, you're going to actually, charity, you're right. In most cases, you're going to interact with somebody, be it the
Yeah,
stakeholder,
exactly. Or the
user,
product manager. Yeah.
yeah, product manager. You're going to interact. So you need to learn how to. You're going to have that interpersonal skill, so you can be able to relate well with these people, right? Interact well with them. I mean, so that you can be able to deliver properly. So I think those are the key skills from my perspective that a UI UX designer should have. And lastly, something I just remembered. You have to
Okay.
be open to learning, because you're going to
Mm-hmm.
keep learning continuously, and there are new tools, new technologies, new advancements, things keep coming up. So you have to be open to improving yourself and learning these new things that come up, so that you can, keep yourself updated always. Yeah. So I think
Wow.
that's
Wow.
it.
Wow, wow, wow. so much, Justina. So you need to keep improving, keep learning, because there are times people get to meet you and they are like, okay, can you work on this project? Probably you've been used to working on fintech projects and somebody's bringing an e-commerce project for you to work on. You
Yeah.
know, you don't say, oh, I can't do this because you've not done it before. As a UI UX designer, you need to be open-minded to embrace any kind of project that comes to you because you just need to be creative, do your research and the likes of it. All right, moving on. I'll just want us to ask this question. How do you stay updated with the latest trends and tools in UI UX design? How do you stay updated with the latest trends and tools?
Okay. So, well, I read articles, right? I
Okay.
read articles a lot, and yeah, some of the resources I find on UX Collective, right? You can check out UX Collective for really interesting and informative resources on there. So there is this Smashing magazine, yeah, Smashing magazine. So it's also they also have a lot of information and resources on UX design. They also have information on front end development and things like that. So yeah, and then somewhere else that I also I also check out for information is Medium. So you can also
Yeah.
check for really really interesting information. And well, I also check out listen to podcasts, and yeah, YouTube is also a great place. I'm always on there checking out new things, just searching for new things that are happening. And on social media, especially LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, right? So those are like my like say active places. I don't know, but yeah, those are where I actually find information, on new things happening. You know, people. A lot of people post a lot. Some industry leaders also post a lot of information, right? That you can always, so you are always, informed. You know what's happening, right? So those are like
Yeah.
my go-to places to stay updated on, trends and what's happening in the industry. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. So you started this journey since 2020 and this is 2024. It's been a long journey. Wow. I'm really
Like
learning
very
from
long
this.
journey.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. Wow. And I love the consistency and the growth trend I'm seeing from all that you've been sharing with us. Okay.
Yeah.
So what role does collaboration play in design process and how do you work with other team members like developers and product managers when working on a project?
Okay. So collaboration is like very important to delivering really functional and effective products, right? So you have to be able to work well with every member of the team, collaborating with product managers, right? For me, right, assuming I'm not the product manager involved, so yeah,
Yeah.
so you just have to work with the product manager to define the goals of the product, right? And prioritize features from user research, right? Because I mean, you have to understand your user needs and all, right? So, and that thing is when collaborating with developers, right? So you have to be able to work with them to understand technical constraints, because there could be technical constraints that might impact, implementation of your design. So if that collaboration is not there, you wouldn't really have that information, and you can go ahead and go all out and do your stuff and everything, and you find out that implementation becomes a problem, right?
Yeah.
So you should be able to work with the developers to understand the technical constraints, be able to get feedback from them as well, right? Because yeah, of course, they would have you know, really useful feedback that could actually help you improve your design. So you should also be open to feedback from them, be able to work with them, and even after you've handed off your design to them, also assist in the implementation of your design to ensure that your goal is that you want to make sure that the implementation is successful, right? And you're actually solving the user need, because users are not going to use your product in Figma. They're actually going to use what the developer has implemented. So
Prepared.
your goal is to make
Yeah.
sure that your design is implemented successfully, right? So you have to be open-minded to work with the developers, get feedback from them, understand the technical constraints, and iterate on your design based on useful feedback or relevant feedback from them. So yeah,
Wow.
that's how I collaborate with these two groups of people.
So from what I'm hearing right now, you can't just do without collaboration. So you
Yeah,
just need to know how
because
to relate with people, and be able to take feedbacks, right? To be able to
yeah.
design an excellent product. Okay, so my next question here is, what are some common challenges UI UX designers face when working in the tech space? I don't know if you've encountered one, but I know that there are so many challenges we face as designers. So, do you mind sharing some of them with us, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of them would be balancing user needs with technical constraints, like I mentioned earlier. So you have to be able to balance user needs with technical constraints. So this means that sometimes, the solution you've provided for users, there could be technical constraints implementing them, which could come from budget, you know, like I already also mentioned again, technical constraint, like technical capabilities
Yeah.
and things like that, implementing that, right? So you have to be able to balance those two, find a common ground to ensure that you are still meeting user needs while also, considering these
Okay.
other constraints, right, out there, right? So another thing that I've also experienced is managing stakeholder expectations.
Hmm.
This is something that is really, really
That part is
challenging.
very important.
Managing stakeholder expectations. Ah, God.
Yeah.
So, you could, have a design, you've come up with your stuff, you've done your user research, you are happy that, I've solved the user's problems and all those, and everybody's going to happy with this. But one thing you have to understand is design is subjective, right? So
Exactly.
this might look, really awesome. This solution could be really awesome to you, but to the stakeholder, right, who in this case could be the project sponsor, right?
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't really sit well with him, and they might even come up with some ideas that don't meet with best practices or are not even within the you know design standards and things like that, right? So those scenarios come up a whole lot, right? So but then a very popular thing that is being said is make the logo bigger. They like the logo being bigger.
I want it to be green, red, and white.
Make the logo bigger, things like that. So you have to find a way to communicate why you are making this design decision, right? And one
Yeah.
of the best ways to do that is to have data backing you. If you have a solution, right, to a problem, uh, and you've done your design and stuff, right? You just have to find a way to convince them, tell them why this, why you are taking this approach to doing this, right? And if it's data backed, if it's backed by data, right, there's a very high chance that yes, this is actually going to bring in the results. And if they're like, okay, this, what about our business goals and stuff, you should also help them understand how this your solution is actually going to meet their business needs, solve the user problem
Yeah.
as well, and also even if it's like right now they're not seeing they can't really see the impact of what you have to do for them, right? Just let them understand that on the long run, that this is actually going to bring back very huge value for
Benefits
your
them.
business, right? So just help them understand that, and I think that should work. Yeah. So those are
Yeah.
like the
Wow.
major challenges that I've
Okay.
experienced.
Because some. Okay. Awesome. Because it's just important that you let these stakeholders know the reason why some things can be. They might have their reasons why they want the logo to be very big and the likes of it, but looking at the design principles and some of the things you need to put in place as a professional, it's just good you have a good common ground with them, trying to explain to them why this shouldn't be and the likes of it. And if they actually employed you to do the work, they should also believe that yes, this person knows what the product needs and be able
Yeah.
to come in sync with the product designer or the UI UX designer. Okay, so the next question I have for you is, how do you handle situations where there's a conflict between the user's needs, sorry, and the business goal? I don't know if you get the question. Where there's a
Yeah, I got
conflict
your
between the
question.
user's need and the business goal, yeah.
I got your question.
Okay.
So what to do is find a common ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find a common ground basically, right? Just think creatively how you can bring a solution that actually meets user needs and also solves business problems, and just find a common ground to actually do those things. You know, basically, I would just say find a common ground to, you know, uh, solve the problem, right? Designing the products that will meet both businesses and user goals. You know, yeah, basically,
Okay, thank you. So it's just good we find a common ground, because if we have a product that meets the business goal but doesn't meet users' needs, it's more like something is not balanced. So you need to
yeah,
just find the balance between meeting the user's need, because the users are the people that will use the products that we are talking about,
products at the
and
end of the
it's
day.
until exactly, and it's until they use it that the business owners can get profits from that particular product, and then
Yeah,
get to the point of achieving the business goal. So there should be a point of, syncing between the user's need and the business goal. Okay, so my next question here is: have you ever been faced with creative burnout? If so, how did you overcome that? Or is it common to
yeah,
some persons and
definitely.
not a general situation? Have you ever felt that way, burn out as a creative?
Yeah, yeah, I have many times actually. So yeah, but how do I overcome it? That's what actually matters. So I basically take a power nap. Right. Sorry, please give me a second, a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. All right, welcome back, everybody. Okay, so we were talking about burnout before we went on a short
Yeah.
break. So I just want to know how you actually do that. How do you manage creative burnout as a designer?
Okay. So burnout is definitely something that I actually experience myself, right? So basically I just take a power nap. Yes.
Okay.
I just try to get some sleep, like maybe somewhere around 30 minutes to recharge, right? And sometimes I just take a little break and listen to some music to suit my mood, uplift my spirits, get some rest, and things like that. Yeah. So that is actually how I manage my creative burnout before I actually go back into the work. I just need to take some time to recharge and relax a bit, and then come back to you know yeah work basically.
All right. Okay, thank you so much for that. So let's talk about career development. What advice will you give to someone transitioning into UI UX design from under career? What are the few advice you can give to somebody that wants to transition?
Yeah. Okay. So what I advise someone that wants to transition is to be patient and learn the ropes. Like learn the fundamentals first before diving into the whole design world and everything. Just have to first of all understand the basics of design. Like right, learn about principles, learn about principles, right, which includes typography, you know, hierarchy, alignment, user research methodologies, and everything. Basically, understand the fundamentals, wireframing, everything that is fundamental. Just start from the basics, right, to understand why some things are done the way they are done, right? So that will also help you, to design interfaces that actually make sense, right? At the end of the day, right, when you will actually still get to the point where you have to design interfaces like for as long as you want, right? So, but as while starting out, first understand the basics and learn, yeah, just understand the basics.
All
Excuse
right.
me.
Thank you. Okay, so can you share tips on building a strong portfolio that stands out in the industry? What are your tips that you can share for one who is trying to build his or her portfolio for their project to stand out amongst others?
So tips would be, to create excuse me, sorry.
Sorry?
So you just have to, create a portfolio that actually makes sense, right? You could have like about 3 to 5 of your best designs on there. So just focus on showing your skills, right? If you're able to, merge or find a way to creatively design products that would actually meet business needs and user needs at the same time, just
Investment.
express that in your portfolio, right? Show your prototyping skills in your portfolio, show your user research skills, your wireframing, just show those things on your portfolio so that a recruiter coming in can actually see that, well, okay, great, this person actually understands these things, right? Just design some of your, just put in there 3 to 5 of your best projects, right? That should do it, right? And just focus on creating these things. And while you are also building out your portfolio, start by showing your role in the design, the your process, of course, right? Showcasing your process as well, right? To from start to finish of the design, right? You have to also show that in your portfolio, right? And yeah, basically doing those things, right, will actually have someone interested. And that key thing you also have to keep in mind
All
is
right. Thank you.
making sure that
Yeah.
okay. Okay, also making sure that the visuals are on point. So create designs that are very, very visually appealing, because a person coming to visit your portfolio will first of all see whatever, the interface first before they start getting into the meat of
Experiencing the
your,
product. Hmm.
yeah, of your portfolio.
All right.
Yeah, so
Okay, thank you so much. I have three more questions to go. But then before that, there's a part where I want you to talk about your thoughts on AI and its impact in the future of UI UX design. I don't know what you can say about it. How important is AI for UI UX designers?
So AI is really important for UI UX designers. We really actually need to embrace that, understand how it can impact our design, right? How it can help us, improve the process of our design, right? So today you can use AI to, come up with layouts, come up with color palettes and things like that. Even conducting A/B testing with AI, right? So that would
Exactly.
actually ease the stress of, doing those things yourself, right? So that you just have to understand different applications of this technology in, you know different stages of our design process, right? And embrace it and use it to make our work better and improved, right? So even today, like, you can use tools like UiZags to convert your sketch to a design, or even if a wireframe, right? So you just
Yeah.
sketch and you bring it in there and it converts it into a digital stuff, right? So that has actually eased you the stress of transferring
Doing
your
the right.
sketch into a wireframe and things like that. So these tools actually help improve our process, make work easier for us, right? So I think it's something that every designer should embrace and understand the tools, the different tools available, and how they can, improve our design. So for example, something else that I also do is I could come up with a design, right? And I'm like asking myself questions. Is this how do I improve this? I'm like, okay, let me just get insights, right? I can just put that design into ChatGPT and like, okay, what do you think about this design? How do you think I can improve it or make it better for so whatever thing it is? And it can give you some recommendations that would make sense, right? Just pick what makes sense at the end of the day, right? So those recommendations can actually help you improve your designs and all. So I think AI is something that is really important to us as designers, right? It's a technology that we need to embrace, right? And find ways to incorporate it into the various design processes, right, to help us produce impactful products, right? Yeah, so that's my take on that.
All right. So UI UX designers, please embrace AI. It's actually part of what we are doing and it's part of the future for design.
Yeah,
Okay, so we
yeah.
have two practical questions to ask you before we wrap it up. Please, can you walk us through your design process from research to finish? You may not give us an in-depth explanation, but just walk us through what your design process are. Thank you.
Okay, so my design process actually starts from um, discovery and research, right? So here, basically, what you do is conduct, your user research and stakeholder interviews to understand what the stakeholder wants to do with the product.
Expectations.
Yeah, and understand user needs as well through your user research and all, right? So after I do that, and the next thing that I do is define, right? Defining the problem, right? So this is where I come up with my problem statements, drawing out user journeys, right? User personas and things like that. So I just define the problem and communicate with the team that this is what we're trying to solve and these are the users that we are solving this problem so that everybody is carried along on the process, right? So after I do that, the next thing would be to ideate, right? To brainstorm, find out, ideas on the design approach, right? So by doing that, I brainstorm and you know um, sketch, right, some design ideas, right, and also create wireframes, to express my thoughts, right, or my design decisions in a low fidelity wireframe. So when I do that, so the last thing there is to actually create a low fidelity prototype to actually test out these ideas with potential users. Yeah, and you can also speak to stakeholders on that, right? To for them to actually experience the app in its lowest state, right? And from there you can get feedback to iterate and for your for the next stage, right? So the next stage is where I actually do the high fidelity design, right?
Okay.
So this is where I come up with the mock-ups, the high fidelity mock-ups, the colors, the everything, like everything that has to do with creating a proper application, right? So I designed the high fidelity and also prototype it for testing and all, right? So after that, the next stage would be handoff, right? So after the design has been tested, you can connect your usability test and everything, you hand off to the developers, right? So when it's been handed off, my work doesn't say end there, right? I also have to be in the loop, communicating with developers, helping them to make sure that they understand, design specifications and implementation wise as
Implementation.
well, helping them, yeah, helping them with the implementation to make sure that the design is properly implemented. And then even while the product is launched, right? So the next stage is when it's launched. So I also have to keep an eye on user feedback, right? So that will also help to improve the product, iterate on the product, and make sure that it actually stays meeting user needs. So yeah,
Wow.
that is actually
Awesome.
my process.
Awesome process. That's so insightful. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so as we wrap up, I just want to ask you one more question, which is if you could go back to your younger self, what is that one piece of advice that you give to somebody else who is much younger, right, on how best they can navigate through the tech journey as a UI UX designer? Let me take that question again. If you could go back and give your younger self one advice about navigating through tech, what would that be? Let me rephrase it that way.
Okay, so I would tell my younger self that imposter syndrome is a thing and you don't have to dwell on it. So because my younger self had a lot of self-doubt and I battled a lot with imposter syndrome. So all my designs were just lying in my Figma file. So I just design and I leave it there because I don't think it is good enough for anybody to see. So, but when I, tried to come out of my shell, right, by networking in communities, I had to meet, that was why I got to meet a mentor. I met Olamide Obwaja, right? I don't know if I pronounced that name properly, but yeah, I met him in in the community, right? And it actually helped me come out of that, encouraged me to share my work, helped me review my work, to make sure
Yeah.
that at least that actually gave me a bit of confidence though, right? So it helped me to encourage me to share my work no matter what it is, right? And I did that, and I saw success doing that, right? I was able to at least get my first internship, right? Because I was sharing my work. So I didn't let the imposter syndrome, keep me down and everything. So I would just, embrace my imperfections and understand that every project, no matter how little, right, no matter how big it is an opportunity for me to learn something new, right? So that is the advice I would give my younger self: to network, share my work, and understand that growth takes time and consistency, right? Do not, stay in my comfort zone, right? So those are the advice I would give to my younger self, and by doing so, I believe that anybody doing that would actually achieve success in this field, and basically in any field actually, right? So yeah.
Wow, thank you, Justina. This is a time well spent, I would say. Let me check the comment section for questions. Okay, so we don't have any question. I'm seeing something from Ayobami. He's saying, "Well done, Justina. Well done, Charity. Thank you, Ayobami. We are so grateful." And for those that
Thank
will
you so
still come back
much.
to this, yeah. And for those that will still come back to watch this, please feel free to drop your questions at the comment box. We will try as much as we can to respond to it. And I want to seize this moment to say thank you so much to Justina for being here. And we were supposed to have this webinar last week, I guess, but something happened and we couldn't. And I'm so glad that we are finally here. So thank you for joining InsightSpark for today's webinar. It's such an awesome moment. It's so worthwhile. And I want to say thank you for coming. To our viewers,
Yeah.
please wanted to look out for more webinars on this space. We bring in much more insightful people topic on different subjects that has to do with tech, business, and a whole lot of other things, and bringing in so many persons. And I know that we'll definitely have Justina back once again. Thank you so much for being here. I will
Definitely.
try as
Thank you
much
so
as I
much for
can
having
to
me. It's been fun,
your work.
being
Thank
here and talking
you.
about my journey. Yeah. I
Thank
hope that
you. Thank
I'm able to inspire someone to actually take that bold step to learning something and growing in this field. And yeah, so thank you very much, Charity, for having me. I really like to, be on this show once again sometime,
I can't wait to
right?
have you. I can't wait to have you again. I can't wait to
Thank
have
you.
you. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
very sure that people will be so blessed by what you've just shared, and they'll definitely give their feedback on the comment section. So I'll look please look out for Justina's details on the comment section, because I'd like to share her social media links with us so that we can follow her and as well follow her YouTube page. She has a page where she teach people a lot about UI UX design. And trust me, it's a place you want to be. So I'll share that with all of us. Once again, thank you, Justina, for being here. And I'm so glad for
Thank you.
having you on the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll call it a day. And we're saying bye
Thank
bye to
you.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.